If you fish for a medal, you'll finish up with bronze and silvers. But if you fish with gold, occasionally you'll win a gold. So if you said to me, right Tommy, next 10 years you can win 10 silver medals, or you can win 1 gold and 9 fourths, I'm going to take the 1 gold and 9 fourths. Like if the angling trusts are not happy with that, we'll get somebody else to do it. That's the way I work, that's the way I think, and that's why I teach people, and that's why they're all winners. I don't care what anybody says, you can have anything you want, you can have your fish holes, you can have all your 50 grands. There is nothing better than that moment in your life. And it's social media where the anglers can make the money. And if I were 20 years younger, I can assure you I would be doing things completely different to what I do today.
Welcome to a new series where I am in the fortunate position to be able to head out on the bank fishing with some of the legends of the match fishing world. Today, my guest, he has 11 European and world gold medals to his name. He's managed Team England and he is the don't move the feeder, Yorkshire's finest, Tommy Pickering. We are at one of the most premier Yorkshire commercial venues. I'm going to go fishing with him, pick his brains on how he approaches the venue, how he catches so many fish here, and also delve into his past, his match fishing history, and what he thinks about match fishing in the future. And as if that wasn't enough, if you stay tuned, you'll be in with a chance of winning his very own feeder rod and reel setup. Stay tuned, I'm looking forward to this. He's bagging up. Tommy.
Oh, you made me jump then, mate. Are you all right?
How are you, mate?
Great, pal.
You look like you're doing well.
It's solid, pal, isn't it?
I don't know if it's solid, mate. I've just got here and I thought, who is that man? It could only be the one and only.
Oh, it's going for them reeds, don't do me.
There's a grebe coming out of the reeds as well,
there's
mate.
a nest there, yeah.
I'm here to punish you, mate. We're going to talk all things your career.
Cool, that won't take you long, will it?
Oh, you've done a bit, boy, haven't you? And do some fishing.
Right, excellent.
Where are we?
We're at the sunny at Lindholm Lakes in Yorkshire, so...
God's country, didn't they call it?
Oh, without a doubt. Is there any other country?
What? How are you catching them, mate? Because clearly you're off to a good start.
Oh, it's a carp.
Oh, it's a carp.
Look at that. Well, I've hooked one fish that got me in them reeds there.
Right.
And I've had some lovely F1s. And this is my first carp, so...
See, carp boy comes into your swim.
As soon as you're coming, they want to see you.
They follow me. I'm getting out your way here so you can land him. He's a nice fish, that, isn't he?
No, it's front here, it's a little one. That's only £5.
Hey, he'll do.
Get in there. Look at that. That's a mirror carp.
What, you had him on the bomb?
Just a bomb and pellet, yeah. Just straightforward fishing, to be honest with you. It's
lovely.
Honestly, you can't believe how many fish are in these lakes.
Hopefully then,
yeah.
That'll mean that I can catch a few as well. I'm going to let you get
there's
sorted,
not that many
mate.
that you're going to catch, so...
I'm going to let you get sorted, mate. I'm going to set a few bits up and then we'll come and look a bit more in depth about how you're fishing it, where we're fishing and what you're doing, mate.
Brilliant, mate.
Well done.
That's
a corker.
Don't batter me too much, will you?
I definitely won't batter you, mate. You can hold that up for Rich. People love to see that. He's a banger, isn't he? I like that.
It's not a bad one.
He will do, mate. He will do.
Let's have a look, see if he's going to be nice and thingy. All right, calm down, my little pal. Calm down.
Oh, the wriggles.
It's not your standards, but for a match angler...
He will do, mate.
That's beautiful.
Lovely. Right, I'll leave you to it. I'll see you in a minute, mate.
All right, pal. Don't go in too early.
I've already done that. He swam in net. Oh,
it's not even a big one, that.
That
Jesus.
is a unit, Tommy. What do you reckon to that, Tommy?
All right, that pal.
I'm in the specimen game, ain't I, mate?
Yeah,
no
well, I've caught
F1s.
bigger gudgeon than that, so...
He's caught bigger gudgeon.
Don't worry about it, mate.
No F1s for me, mate.
No, you're a carp specialist.
I'm happy with that. Excuse me, sir, could you help a wannabe match angler out? What you using? I'm ducking. I'm behind you.
I'll help you out, pal, anytime.
You're having a few, aren't you? A few F1s and a couple of carp, aren't you?
It's solid, mate, but it's not difficulty. Look at that, aren't they beautiful? That's a little one, would you believe? That's about £1.5, and that's a small one.
You said it gets to £7 or something, don't they?
They get them, they catch £6 and they don't even talk about it now. They tend to be like £7. There's some massive fish in here now, especially F1s, and they're beautiful. They're golden and they're a pleasure to catch. But you come on, when you come to this place at Lindholm, your main fish are F1s and sometimes carp, but you're fishing for F1s because there's that many there. Yeah, my setup's pretty straightforward. I've got a bomb and a feeder rod set up. I've got what we call 10-foot light carp, marvellous light carps.
Okay.
And the reason why there's a carp rod, but this is the light carp, because we're fishing for F1s, them's your main species, and you've got to fish lighter hook lengths and lines. So 4,000 size marvellous reel, 0.26 line, it's about £11, but you don't need it. You don't need to be any finer. So
right.
And then we've got a free running bomb, which it's got to be free running here, onto a quick change bead, so that just protects it. And quick change bead means you can take your hook length off and change your hook length pretty straightforward. Length of the hook length, which is 0.13 to an 18, and it's just sublime line at 0.13, and you might think, oh, that's quite
light,
but you don't catch F1s if you put out heavier on. F1, okay. no F1 fishing. This is one lots of club anglers get it wrong. You've got to fish it light, hence that's why it's a light carp rod, so it's a soft rod, and that length is the most important thing. It can be between 8 and 12 inches long, and that's quite simply how the fish are feeding. And to an 18 hook, and you know, sometimes it's a 20, but for F1 fishing you have to fish fine. So your balanced setup is a soft rod, don't matter about the line, and a light hook length and a light hook, and you just get more bites.
So I need to think finesse here. I'm basically I'm gonna take your setup, and I'm gonna go
just
over
a minute
there.
You're gonna take my setup.
I'm gonna take one of these rods that are made up.
Right.
But what I have noticed in your setup series, you've got one there.
Yeah.
That's got a bomb on. That's got a feeder on. Is it all the same setup in terms of the feeder, or is there a difference in terms of the actual rod reel?
No, the same rod, the same reel, the same line. It's exactly the same. You don't have to change anything there. Obviously, the setup and the terminal tackle is a little bit different because one's a feeder and one's a bomb. But I'm still fishing for the same species. I'm still fishing for F1s.
Yeah.
So that's why everything has to be balanced. If I had a stiff rod with that hook length, I'd get broke every cast.
Yeah, of course.
So I use the softness of the rod to get the bite and play the fish.
When would you use the feeder and when would you go to the bomb?
Great question, because I don't know and every day is different.
Okay.
So what I normally do, I normally start on a feeder and I'll cast in the feeder and I'll loose feed pellets over the top. And then how I'm catching determines on what I'm going to do. So if I go in and I don't get no indications and it just goes round, I stay on the feeder. But because I'm loose feeding, what happens is if I cast in and it goes ding, ding, and I'm getting indications, that tells me the fish are active, they're off the bottom, and that's when I change to the bomb.
Right.
So the fish tell me what rod I'm going to be using. If I don't get no signs, I just stick with the feeder, as long as I'm catching. And on the bomb, if I'm getting dinks and taps all the time, it tells me they're off the bottom, and what I'm going to do then is keep feeding more often. All the time, because one of the biggest problems with F1s is it's all about the feeding. Little and often, all the time. You want it going through the peg all the time like that. So the fish tell you what tactics you're going to use. It's not what I want to do or the angler wants to do.
It's what they're doing.
It's what and how they're feeding. And sometimes it's bomb, sometimes it's feeder. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't care as long as I'm catching.
Yeah, I love it, mate. Well, what I'm going to do, mate, is I'm going to take one of those lovely setups.
You're going to steal one of my rods?
I'm going to go next door and I'm going to copy, or try and copy, the Master at Work, because you caught a few, mate.
And are you going to try and smash me up, are you?
Well, I'd like to catch a few. If not, I'm going to go in that keep net, grab them out and lift them up for the camera to make it look like
You'll not be able to lift them up, mate.
I'll see you soon,
all
mate.
right, pal.
Loco's got some big ones, hasn't it?
Yeah, Loco's got the biggest ones in, yeah. That's, I think, £26 biggest in there.
Really?
Oh, that might be bigger, that one.
This is the £20 from Loco,
I reckon that'd
mate,
be biggest.
This is all your advice I'm implementing in my angling.
Absolutely.
You're my mentor, Tommy, mate.
Don't worry, it builds in post, don't panic.
Tommy, I want to talk about England, mate.
Yeah.
obviously a massive feature in your life, both fishing wise and managing.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the fishing side first, mate. I mean, you have won a world championship, which we're going to talk about, but it's been a huge factor in your life, hasn't it?
Well, that's all I've ever wanted to do, to be fair. So from an early age, when at one time the only thing there was no like Fishermania and things like that, and all these big matches nowadays. There was fishing for England, and any angler, you know, wanted to fish for England, and there were only 6 anglers could go. There was nothing else. There was no ladies, no juniors, no feeder world champs, just one world championship, and that was everybody's ambition. And you know, 6 people out of a million anglers, like, I mean, it's crazy. And you know, I got the call up at 23. Stan Smith was the manager then, and he'd watched me on the national championships at River Welland, and I must have impressed. I won my section at national and at Wagler. It was my 23rd birthday, May the 12th, and I got a phone rang at home, picked it up, and it was Stan Smith. I never forget what he said. He just says, "Hello, this is Stanley Smith from the National Federation of Anglers. I'd like to invite you to fish for England this year in Austria." And I went,
"What?"
I went, "Who's this?" You know. And he went, no, it's actually Stanley Smith. And then I recognised his voice. And I just said, "I don't know what to say." He said, "Well, say yes." and I went, "Yes, and do you know what day it is?" He went, "No." I said, "It's my birthday. It's the best birthday present I'll ever have." And he went, "Well, happy birthday, young Tom, and I'll see you soon," and put the phone down. And I've never forgot it. And what was strange was my mum, God bless her, and she was in hospital. She'd just had an operation in Pontefract Hospital, and I drove up to Pontefract to see her, and I brought the news to her before I told anybody else. And and we went to Austria and we come last.
Last. But you were there. What was that like, mate, though, representing your country? That was the pinnacle, wasn't it?
It was like, you can't really, it's hard to explain really, but it's like, you think it's a dream to start with. I mean, it took me ages, and then of course you get called to the meeting, and then you meet the lads, and of course there were Ivan Marks, Kevin Ashurst, Ian Eaps. They were the 3, you know, legends, and you know, in the game. They were in the team, and then there were me and Mark, who were very young, Mark Downs, and Dave Thomas had got his first call. So, and then it was just out of this world, just like wow. I had 3 years with Stan, and then I got left out a couple of times, and then Dick took over. And
what's that like, getting left out, mate? Because obviously you've been called up, you're excited, you're young, you're nervous. There's all that.
It's horrible, you know. Yeah. But it was probably like, I probably expected it at time.
Why do you say that?
I was very young.
Okay.
And I think what Stanley wanted to do, I think he wanted to build a young team with me and Mark.
Yeah.
And I think he probably thought we were too young, and he went back to a bit more experience. And then they changed managers and brought Dick in, and I was a bit older and a bit wiser then, a bit older, and in 1984. And Dick came and took over and just completely changed everybody's life, really.
In what way? When do you say that? I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about the match.
We started winning. We'd never won it, understand?
Yeah.
And he brought anglers in with winning mentality. You know, we're all interested in gold medal, like, but from that mentality, I've come through as a manager with that mentality. Mark Downs has come through with that sort of mentality to as managers and coaches.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just about winning with the team. It changed the mentality of all the fishermen, and he allowed them to be fishermen. And we were so successful. And whatever happens now goes back to him.
Do you think that much of an influence, that much of an impact?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But we put his own spec on it. You know, I put my spec on it. Mark puts his spec on it.
Yeah.
But we've come through because of what happened then.
What was it? What do you, winning mentality? Talk to me about that, because obviously nowadays people talk about a winning mentality, a mindset. They talk all that. What do you mean? As in, you've got two managers there that were different. You said that Dick came in. Give me an example.
Right. An easiest example is I'm only interested in gold medal. I'm not interested in anything else. I'm not quite sure how many silver and bronze I've got, but I know exactly how many golds I've got. I've no interest in coming second whatsoever. And so what I said to my lads is, look, if we win a silver and a gold, but we're trying to win, a silver and a bronze, but we're trying to win a gold, I don't have a big problem with that. But I think if you'll fish for a medal, you'll finish up with bronze and silvers. But if you fish with gold, occasionally you'll win a gold.
Right.
Because that's the way that you fish. So if you said to me, right Tommy, next 10 years you can win 10 silver medals, or you can win 1 gold and 9/4, I'm going to take the 1 gold and 9/4.
Right, okay.
And people go, that's balmy. And I go, well, you've never won out.
Yeah.
I've been a champion once, and that's good enough for me. I've got, you know, in that 10 years, if I win 1 gold and nothing else, I'd sooner take that than 10 silvers, because I've been a champion.
I like that.
Now, I'm not saying that that's what everybody wants to do.
Yeah.
But if you want to fish for me, that's your mentality.
Obviously, you referenced there about the sort of management side and taking that mindset on and that becoming you. But that 1985 World Championships, that was a defining moment, wasn't it? In terms of...
wow, massive. Oh no, it was the greatest moment in match fishing for England history. When we beat Italy in Italy in '85, that was like, wow. Italy had never been beat.
Yeah.
You don't beat Italy in Italy. And we went over and beat them. And let me tell you, they weren't happy. They were not happy, and it completely changed everything. That was the great, you know, that photo you see we dig on our shoulders is the greatest match fishing photo in match fishing history, in my opinion, you know. And it's just awesome.
The fishing there, how did you do it? How did you beat them?
We beat them, believe it or not, on catfish.
Catfish? They
hated catfish. There were 3 sections that were pretty straightforward, where you fished a waggler and you caught carp and carasio, an odd chub on straight waggler, like where I fished. But there were 2 sections really deep, and the best 2 slider anglers, Dennis White and Ian Heaps, they drew them sections, and they caught catfish on the bottom, and they were catching these catfish, and all the crowd were going meow meow as they were netting them and laughing.
Right.
Yeah, cat meow meow like that. We kept plopping them in them 2, and Dennis won his section and Ian come second.
Result.
And that won us it, because they were trying to catch these chub shallow, but them 2 lads just putting catfish in the net, and that's what won us it. And they didn't realise while the end what were happening. And
it was too late.
We were catching little catfish, and they didn't think we'd got the weights we had. And it were only after they realised that were a tactic, and that were why we beat them, because we fished. Them 2 lads caught catfish on, because it were like 20 odd foot deep. You didn't catch anything else.
Jeez.
And they would fish, and their 2 lads didn't do very well in that section, because it was that deep. There were no chub for them to catch.
Yeah.
And that's what beat them. So I won my section, and Dennis won his section. I think Kevin and Ian were second, and I think Bob were 8th or 9th. I'm not quite sure now, but he was wrong end at section, and yeah, we finished up beating them.
That feeling, that sort of, obviously there's competing for your country, there's that whole buzz, but the actually winning a gold, that first gold, what's that like? What's the party like?
There is absolutely nothing better in sport than, don't matter what sport you are, and you're stood on that podium and you're last to go on, whether it's team, individual, and you're last to go on, and they put a gold medal around your neck and you play the national anthem. Yeah. Trust me, I don't care what anybody says, you can have anything you want, you can have your fish O's, you can have all your 50 grands. There is nothing better than that moment in your life. And it's like when in '89 when I won the individual, I mean I had to walk through loads and loads of people all cheering, just like you see on other sports, and it's just you can't buy it, you can't. It's just a moment in life you never ever forget.
Talk to me about that match, because there's obviously the team gold, and then I know the team gold's brilliant, massive and mega, but also then to get sort of that rubber stamp of an individual, I mean, everybody wants it, even though you don't really say it, but you're fishing for it, aren't you?
I mean, the thing is, we were always brought to, and this is why England have got so many individual gold medalists, is because Dick's mentality was, and this is what I said to my lads, and you only win gold medals by winning sections.
Yeah.
As a team-wise, you don't come in third, fourth and fifth all the time. You don't win gold medals. You might win a medal, you don't win golds. You only win by winning sections. And that's one of the things that I try to say to my lads. So if you teach them that, what it also does, it gives them a chance of winning individual medals. So it gives people it gives the lads an opportunity of winning a gold medal individually. And this particular day in Plovdiv, on the first day I drew B section, and I drew, I think it were about, I can't remember the exact number, and I just caught on a waggler, and it were all waggler fishing.
Yeah.
And spraying maggots, and after half an hour I ain't got a fish, and it's only 3-hour matches, and I got stung with a wasp.
Right.
And I've never been stung in my life apart from that moment. And gone like that, like my mates come and just dabbed a dabber on me, Roger Mortimer. And when I cast out, it went a bit far. It went past my maggots, and it's gone like that, and it's come up, and I've gone, oh, that's a bit far, and it's gone under like that, and I've hooked a carp.
Gee. And
I've gone, oh, cast out again, and then I realised where all the maggots were going, the fish were on the outside like that.
Right.
They wouldn't come into the maggots, and in practice they'd come into the maggots. And I finished up, I think it was 10 kilos, I had 6 carp and some chub and crassio, and I won the section. And then the day after, I was in C section, and in C section you had to be 1 to 10, that's where all the fish were, and we drew I think 27.
Oh.
So I was after it really.
Yeah.
And I fished best match I've ever fished in my life. Sometimes, when you go, your name's on it.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually thought it was. And that day, because it was like, the highest weight from 11 to 27 were a kilo the day before.
No way.
No fish there. So I've cast out the shouted time, put rod down.
Still on the waggler?
Still on waggler. But I think what happened was, because of what I'd learnt the day before, the fish were on the outside of the bait.
Yeah.
Right. I cast out. Oh, and you're smashing me up now.
It's because you're talking, mate. I've got your chin wagging.
And it went straight under first cast, and I got a what they call a vimber, a species called a vimber.
Right.
And I got another, and I caught a few chub, and then I got a little carp, and then I got a carp right at end. And Roger Morton was my bank runner, and he kept saying, "They're not catching so much 1 to 10." He says, "You're third at worst." And then when I caught this carp at end, he says, "You're second." He says, "You'll not beat," I think it was Ronnie McLeod from Scotland. "You'll not beat him, he's won it easy." And he says, "But you could be second." Anyway, when I weighed in, I weighed 5'9", I think, kilos.
5'9"?
Yeah, and I come second.
Right.
And then, of course, the things are going round, and there was one of the Welsh lads had a 1 and a 2, but I beat him on weight. But we thought Cassini and Barbetta from Italy both won the sections, and had won the sections first day. Anyway, Spud Murphy from Wales, he beat Cassini by 4 ounce and put him second, which means he had 3 points, same as me. And then what happened was he finished up. I beat him on weight, so
right.
I knew I was in silver medal position. And then it was just gold, and there only Barbetta could beat me, and he was right down in A section. And then the Italian manager come by, and I went, "Barbetta in the sector?" And he went like that, three fingers up like that. "Third in the sector?" And he went, "Yes, I'd won it." And it was like I won an individual. It was balmy. And of course, they're all over me, press and and Dick come up managing, and we were all dancing around like lunatics, and I'll never forget it because Dennis were in next section, Dennis White, and I said to Dick, I've got to go find Dennis, and I've run up and I've run past him, and I've looking because there were loads of people there, and I'm looking like that, and I saw him, I went, Dennis, and he looked round, he sat on his box like this. What's up? I said, I've won it. He jumped up and we met halfway like them lovers on sand, you know, with the meat halfway like that, jumping.
How did that whole management side of managing England come into play? Because obviously you were fishing it, you've won the World Championship. How did you go from that as an angler to then being part of the actual setup and managing other anglers?
Right. Well, the first thing is you always want to fish.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a manager, you want to fish.
100%. Look at me stood here next to you, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to fish.
You want to fish, right? You don't want to be a manager, but it obviously gets to a stage where you realise you're perhaps not good enough or whatever. But when the feeder one come out, I wanted to fish. I didn't want to be manager because I was still good. I thought I was still good enough at that time, and I probably was. Dick rang me up and asked me to be manager, and I went, no, I want to fish. I want to take my chance. And I knew you'd say that. And I said, well, that's, you know. And he says, that's fair enough. Anyway, he rang me back. Because I said to him, I said, but to get it going, if you want, I'll do both for the first couple of years till you find somebody. No, I don't want to do that. Anyway, he changed his mind. So I finished up doing both fishing and bit manager.
Did you?
And after, I think the first time we won it, we didn't win a gold, we won a couple of bronzes. And then my dad died in 2014.
Oh, man.
And it were in Ireland. I couldn't handle week before, you see.
Yeah,
I couldn't handle it
course.
all. Fishing, manager, dad dying and all that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It were a lot. So what I did, I stepped back and we won it.
Right.
And I knew then I could never fish again.
Why?
Well, one, the anglers had got better, and I thought on the bank, I needed to be on the bank for us to win it. And so...
Is that a hard decision for you, mate?
It killed me.
I was going to say, it killed me.
It killed me, but I knew it was the right thing to do. And then we won it that year, we won it year after, and then went to sea and we come second, which I would have bit gut wrenching that one because no team's ever won 3 on trot, and I've had 3 near misses now with that. So
do you think?
And then after 8 years, I'd had enough.
Right.
But lads were that good then. I were never going to get back at team. They were just like, you know. I mean, when we first took them, I mean, I thought I was going to fish till about 100.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realise, it's not about you being a good fisherman, it's about being able to fish the World Championships.
Yeah, of course.
It's the mentality of that. It's not about being a good fisherman. There's loads of good fishermen, but can they fish World Champs? Can they do what I want them to do? Can they handle the pressure and everything like that? So, and that's why I stepped down. So I did it 8 years. When I left, there were world #1 and top 4 individuals. So, we'd done a good job.
Yeah.
Not just me. It's my mentality. It's up to them to do the work and the effort and the graft. I had Glenn as my #2, Glenn Lawrence, and between us we got lads into ship shape, and they were just unbeatable at that time. They were, I think we won 12 medals in 8 years. So
both in a fishing context and in a managing context, as well as the highs of winning, there's obviously lows, mate. For you, when I say lows, what comes to mind?
Oh well, Yugoslavia. When I double dried, there's no, one of the things I always say to my lads is, whoever I take on, you can't do anything that I haven't done.
Right.
I've been top at world, I've been bottom at world.
Yeah.
I've won goals, I've won different medals, I've cost us medals, I've won us medals, and so I know what it's like, I know it's feeling, I know what it's like to be left out. And because the hardest thing as a manager, the hardest thing I find is if you take 6 lads and only 5 can fish, is telling the 6th one on the Friday night is not fishing. That is to me,
Killer.
to tell him is horrific because I know how horrific it is. It's like telling somebody that not so much they're not good enough. It's like it can't work from that week, but it's no good to them.
It's like, look what you could have won, isn't it? It's horrible.
A little bit, but the only thing I do say to them, I say, look, I've got, and I do have one or two rules. Like one rule is, if we win on day one or win the overall, the same team will fish a second day.
Okay.
And I'll be taking the same team following year because I think that they deserve to retain the title. So that's one thing that I always say. I don't like changing a winning team. And then me as a manager coach, what I've got to do, I've got to get all them 6 anglers the same.
Right.
All week I've got to train them, teach them, so that I've got a difficult decision on Friday night. But on the Friday night, my get out is if they are all the same, I will always go for experience.
Okay.
But they all know that. So the person who's the least experienced knows he's got to be top at 3 that week. Otherwise, he'll be the one. Like when I was at feeder team, poor Rob Wotton, were brilliant for me, and he only fished once because I couldn't get him in team because when he was least experienced, and we won it 2 or 3 years on trot, and I just kept saying lads, and he was the unlucky one when I was there. Brilliant fisherman.
Yeah.
I couldn't get him in team.
I'll tell you what though, mate, to do it and win gold both on a managerial level and as an angler is incredible. To have the highs of winning it and, as you said there, Yugoslavia, to experience all that, mate, I've got the utmost respect and sort of admiration for it, because to consistently produce in 2 completely different areas of the sport, I mean, you can't coaching and fishing are 2 different things, but to do it, yeah, it's incredible, mate. When you look back, if I could offer you it now, one day to relive again, would you live a managerial gold or would you live your individual gold again?
Ooh, always team.
Always team. That's what he says, but later on he won't say team, mate. He'll have that day back.
No, the thing is, when you're fishing, if you said to me, you can win individual gold or you can win a gold medal fishing for a team, for the team, I'd say the team every time.
Would you?
100%, yeah, because I was a team man. Because one of the downfalls when I won the gold, we didn't win an individual team. But you know, strangely enough, now I look back at my age now, I wouldn't have swapped it now.
Would you not?
Not a chance. Because at that time we were brought up to think team, but I won't swap it now because I know how hard it is to win.
Yeah.
How important and you're a world champion.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been if it had been the other way around. I would have been a team one, but not individual. And I wouldn't swap it now, but I would have done then. 100%.
You're angling at the moment, Tommy. You're obviously doing a lot of the old freestyle feeder stuff now, aren't you? Talk to me about that. It's not something, forgive my ignorance, I know too much about now.
Okay.
But what is it exactly? And obviously you compete, so talk to me about all that.
Well, to be honest with you, they call it freestyle, which is about as wrong a name as you could get it, because it's not free. It's not, you know, when I say freestyle, I think you should be able to do anything.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's method feeder fishing, it's hybrid. There's no cages, no plastic or anything like that. So calling it a freestyle is about as wrong a name as you could get, but the people involved know what it's about. And it started, my good friend from Italy, Angelo De Pascaris, he wanted to bring a commercial feeder world championships in, i.e. like a method and a freestyle and a hybrid.
Yeah.
And I went to a meeting with him to get it going. Anyway, eventually it got through, but unfortunately England didn't send a team for the first 2 years, which I was a bit annoyed about.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't really know. And then I complained a little bit about it, spoke to Steve Fitzpatrick, and I didn't want to go into management again.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And he said, well, we need a manager. And I went, no, I'm not doing it. And he said, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have a deal. He says, I'll advertise for the job.
Yeah.
And if nobody puts in for it, will you do it to get it going? I went, yeah. And of course, nobody put in for it. So he rang me, it says nobody's applied for it. And I went, well, I'm not prepared for it not to happen again. And so I took it on. And phones Phil Ringer up, had a word with him. And we decided we were going to do it. And so we got it off the ground, really.
How does that differ from the conventional feeder team then, in terms of the feeders you use or the venues as well?
The venues could be the same and have been the same.
Right,
But
okay.
the tactics, for example, on the normal feeder, they use cages, and the hook length has got to be 50 centimetres
Yeah.
a minimum below the feeder.
Yeah.
They use traditional baits, whereas we use pellets and not boilies, sort of
Wafters
and stuff
yeah.
like that. We can use all that, so it's more commercial fishing
Okay.
than it is. So it's completely different. Like, you know, we can put pellets in, fish meal, ground baits, things like that. The problem is, like it always is, when you start a new venture, you've got to find the anglers, you've got to educate them, and I've got to start again getting the right anglers, getting the mentality and everything right. And the ones I've got at the moment, they're actually doing that, and it's going to take 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Till eventually, just like it did with the other feeder team, took 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
to get everything together, and it's going to take the same. What I'm trying to do is get a little combination of sort of match carp lads and match anglers.
Yeah.
Because it's a carp match.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to catch carp.
Mate, it's interesting that. It's always good, like, obviously you've been in it a long time, and I don't want to carry on the same line of being in it a long time, but the fact that you're still looking at refreshing new things within match fishing and being involved in that feeder team
Yes.
is, mate, it's testament to you, but it's also testament to sort of the direction of sort of travel with the sport as well, mate. It's constantly renewing. There's different avenues, isn't there? Seems to be a lot of change over the last few years, but
massively.
all for the better.
Massively, but this will be the biggest one. Eventually this will be 40 teams.
You know what I reckon you should do, apart from get me involved, because I've caught a few F1s here.
You're in.
I mean,
You're in,
I
mate, you're
reckon you should get the management role taken care of, Tommy, mate, and get yourself back in there, because today's performance, you're well due a place.
Right, I'll think about which one I'm going to drop then to put me in there.
Yeah, too right.
Yeah. Well, 2, because you'll need to be in as well.
Well, yeah, but we won't tell people that. They'll know now. It's all contrived.
Another carp.
You're carp mashing, ain't you?
I tell you something, I can't believe how many carp I've caught, like 3 to 5 pound, and they're all mirrors. I reckon he's put some of these in. It's bigger than 3 there, that's 5 that. I can't believe this.
Well, mate, an incredible career, mate. And
oh no,
you're still doing it, mate. You're still out there doing it. You're battering me, but you're winning bigger matches as well, mate. So, mate, honestly, I cannot thank you enough for coming out, but I also have a complete admiration, mate, for everything you've done. You're an absolute legend.
We're still doing it as well, you know. I mean,
that's what I said.
You know, we do the masters and the vets and everything now. And
do you think you'll do it all the time?
While my body's allowing me to do it,
good man.
I'm going to keep doing it.
Well, let's catch a few more of these F1s,
Go on,
mate?
then. Go on then, because you're catching me up now.
Now, if you're enjoying the content that we're bringing you thus far, make sure you click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can find out when our next video is live. I'm here to pick your brains on bait, mate. You're obviously part of the freestyle feeder team. We talked about that, the use of bait. You've got loads of different little tubs, loads of stuff going on. Give us some tips on bait.
Right, well, because at freestyle it's all pellets and ground bait.
Yeah.
And it will be pellet based ground bait most of the times. So, I mean, basically what I do, I like to be a bit different than most people. And I'm always looking for an edge. I know everybody says that they are, but I am as well. And what I like to do, I like to have different things. So I so-called my pellets.
So these are just natural, like obviously Lindholm, you get your pellets, they as they are, aren't they?
And what these are, the different colours with sensating, and you can get them in yellow, green, red, sweet, natural, but they're also dyes, but they've got the sensating, which is what I like. So all I do when I'm fishing, I'll put my pellets, might put them all in like that.
Yep.
And then what I do, I put some different colours in.
Right.
And people say, oh, why do you do that? Well, one, I like to be different. But if you think about it, when we're fishing, sometimes you catch on a natural pellet, but lots of time you don't, especially on a feeder.
Yeah.
You put a yellow one on or a red one or a thing. So why won't they eat them in the feed that are different colours? So when you do that,
yeah, you get a right mix, don't you?
You get a right mixture, and it just looks different. It's stickier, it's different. You've got yellow ones, red ones, and I like to do that, so I like to be different, because I think, well, if they're taking a yellow one off your hook bait, why won't they take the yellow ones that's in the feed?
Yeah.
So obviously they prefer that, and then if they want just the natural pellet, the natural pellets are in as well. And like, I like yellow ones, so I usually put a few more yellow ones in than other colours. It's just me personally.
I like that.
And that's all, but I like to do that, and because I like to be a bit different. And my philosophy is, if you put some bait in the water and the fish don't like it, they won't take it. But there'll be something in there that they like. And then if all you've got to do then is put on your hook bait.
Yeah.
So if you've got your feeder, that's a hybrid feeder, so I'll fill that up to start with. And you can see all the different colours now.
Yeah, there's a lot there, isn't there?
There's a lot there. And then look at my hook bait, it's yellow. So why shouldn't some of your bait be yellow? And then when you put that in there, it just blends in with the other things, and you put that on and cover it up like that. Press it on.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not as glaringly single when it all comes
right.
out.
But how sexy does that look? I think that just looks like a fish would eat it, and then obviously that pops up. The water goes into the feeder, pops it all up, and your hook bait's there in the middle. That's the philosophy of it all, and that's what's different between the freestyle and the normal feeder method, is that we can fish like we can on a commercial fishery. But that's how I prepare my bait. I just love having different coloured ones in, because, well, look at that. That's a tub.
You can get them out. Oh, well done.
Of hook baits. They're all different colours.
Yeah.
So they're all different colours, so why shouldn't you feed me?
You're working on that principle of attraction and colour,
yes,
but with your feed as well, aren't you?
The thing is, I know, even here at Lindholm, I'll go on some lakes and yellow is best on the hook.
Yeah.
Some lakes are pink. And that happens to different fisheries.
Yeah.
What you've got to do as a fisherman is work out what colour that the fish prefer. And if I go on a lake where I know it's yellow, I'll put more yellow ones in there, because I think that's an attractor more.
Yeah.
So that's my philosophy. That's how I think.
It's working, but also if you contrast that with what I'm doing, I've just got the normal pellets, and sort of no colour,
but sometimes that's right.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's right, but us as fishermen, we've got to find out which is the best, and that's the idea, and that's what we try and do. But trust me, if I'm fishing pellets, that's how my pellets are. It just looks different, and when that's on, I can imagine that being on the bottom. And I mean, I've watched a lot of underwater videos, and one of the things that's come out of underwater videos lately is how fish are attracted to a certain colour.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's and you know as a carp angler,
I know 100%.
probably more than I do, that different waters will have a different colour, so that's what I do.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout, mate. It's unique, it's individual, it sets you apart, and it's doing it for you today, mate.
It's certainly doing it for today, 100%.
Right, I'm going to go back and try and I'm going to nick one. Yeah, quick, good man. Keep going, mate. I'm going to go back and catch a few more. You still got the reactions, mate, haven't you? So Tommy, that has been a thoroughly enjoyable, very busy day, mate.
Very, that was excellent, mate. No, you can have that, mate.
No, what we're going to do is we're going to give this away, aren't we? We've got a big giveaway. What are we giving them? What's the prize, mate?
That's a marvellous 10-foot light carp, 4,000 marvellous reel for the winner, and as you know, in my bait pellets, I like to put bait dyes and flavourings. There's 5 there, which I'm going to send you as well.
Ah, mate, you're very kind. All you guys have got to do to win that prize is subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you like this video. Head to the Capital Catch Competitions Facebook page and make sure you follow that, because that's where we'll announce the winner. And in the comments to this very video, answer the following question.
Quite simply, what year did I become World Individual Champion? That's all you've got to do. So make sure you subscribe, answer that question. If you get it right, you've got a chance of winning a rod reel and all these lovely bait dyes.
Top man. I'll tell you what, mate, you know what we need to do? We need to head back to the calf and have a brew.
That's perfect.
Let's get it done, mate. Tommy, we're in the Angler's Arms, mate. This is nice, isn't it?
It's beautiful. It's a bit different to when I first started, when we all stood out in rain and everything, and we never went to a pub or all that for draws and after. But now you come here, you have your breakfast, you go to the shop, you get your bait, and then you fish a match, come in here to collect your winnings, and all have a restaurant, you can have food and everything. It's almost like a golf situation. Our golf clubs are. Isn't it good? You know, because you can. It's great for families because you can bring your family. They can fish out there.
Well, we've seen
they've
them,
got toilet facilities. They've got things to eat, so you can bring your kids and your wife and or husband or whatever. And it's just fantastic. It's but this place is just like something different.
I'll get used to this, mate. This is
I know,
nice. It's a bit of luxury.
I'm lucky that I only live 12 mile away. So.
Oh, on that theme of sort of things changing, you've been in the game an awful lot of time. You've been through a number of different changes, the influx of social media. You seem to have sort of adopted that. For you now, that the sort of the big changes in match fishing that you've seen, what have they been, mate?
Well, I mean, when I first started, we had even in match we had 2 rods, and then the poles come, and then even fishing for England. I can remember when we won in '85. I had 2 rods set up.
Did you?
At World Championships, I had 2 waggler rods set up. That's all I had, and a reef plastic thing where lid melted because it was that warm. And it's like, so that started. Then commercialism coming in, and like in 2000, I realised I was never going to get picked for England again. So I went to commercialism. So commercialism was just starting, and all these places. So I turned into that. And then when the feeder started in 2010, I get a new lease of life because I thought, I'll be able to fish for England again with a feeder. And that happened. Then I went into coaching, and now we've got the freestyle. And it's just like the fishing world has just changed. It seems to change with something. And I think that's been my biggest asset and strength. I've changed with it because I've seen it and thought I've got to be part of that, because it's almost like drives me forward and drives me want to do it.
Where does that come from? Because there's a lot of people that are a similar sort of age, a similar sort of demographic, that have not embraced that change, and they're very much in the other camp where they want everything to be as it was back in the day, which it's never going to be.
No, that's right. Oh no, it's impossible, and I wouldn't want it to be. I mean, it's like in them days, 4 people used to get in a car with a tattle and go on an open match, and nowadays you need a van to get it all in. You know, I've got a van and I can't take 2 fishing. It's that stupid and that much gear and equipment, and it's quite staggering really how that changed in development of tattle. But I'm fortunate that I've come through all that and been part of it, you know, and helped develop quite a few things. But fishing is just like, to be honest with you, you can do anything that you want to do, but that's the beauty of fishing. I think that's the biggest thing about fishing, is you can be a sea angler, a game angler, a coarse fisherman, but a coarse fisherman that wants to go specimen fishing, match fishing, and there's all lots of different elements that you can actually do. And I think that's the beauty of, and what's not sold in fishing is that. What I mean by that is, if you can sell that to kids who go fishing, then they'll develop into what they want to fish for, like we did. You know, I'm competitive and I want to be a match angler. You wanted to be a carp angler because that's what your love is. But that's the beauty of fishing. We've got all these segments, and there'll be something that people like and love, whether it be sea fishing or game fishing or special fishing, match fishing. It don't really matter. Me, I'm that competitive. I just want to beat everybody on the bank, and I just want to win. I don't, you know, I just want to win. I'm not interested in anything else.
Well, you've done that hands down today, mate. You absolutely pummeled me. But on the subject of youth and young people and match fishing, for you, now compared to maybe as it was? Do you think there's as many young kids getting into fishing, into match fishing, as there ever has been? Or is there, from what I see, more people going into maybe straight into specimen style carp fishing?
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt that more youngsters go into barbel fishing and carp fishing. And it tells you that because the further south you go, there's more people who go carp fishing, barbel fishing, and you can see that in the shops and everything like that. When you come up here in Yorkshire, there's still a lot go match fishing, and when you go, because I've had this argument lots of times, but the trouble is we didn't have 300 commercials in them days, so everybody joined Doncaster, Barnsley, Worksop, and you knew how many kids actually went fishing. But now what they do, they all go to the commercial fishing. They don't go on the rivers and everything, they go commercial. So what school holidays are like now, if you go around all these commercials, there'll be some youngsters there. So they split more. They don't have to go to the clubs like they did in the old days. So we don't see them all together, and that's the difference, I think, personally. But there's still plenty of kids actually going fishing, there's no doubt about that. But in the further south you go, the barbel anglers and the carp fishermen. Up here we still have a few that go match fishing. However, on the rivers, that is a different story. There's hardly any youngsters go fishing on the rivers, and that's a massive shame. And the matches I fish now, in 15 years' time, there won't be any matches.
Do you not think?
No, because we'll all be dead.
Yeah.
Because I'm one at youngsters. You know, I won lots of these river matches, and I'm in my 60s, and I won at youngsters. And you know, it's just.
Why do you think that is? Because of the commercial sort of development?
So easy, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
They drive in, they get the bait from the shop, they come here, they have a breakfast, they go to the toilet, they go fishing, they come back here, they go to the toilet, they go back fishing, they come back here, have a sandwich, and then they drive home. Everything's here, and they're safe, the cars are safe, and everything like that, there's no break-ins. It's just perfect, really.
Do you think there's any merit in trying to push natural venues, or do something to engage kids into sort of going to natural venues, or do you think realistically it's that far gone that the effort's better off spent promoting kids fishing on places like this?
Great question, and I think you've got to promote these type of fisheries to get more kids in. I really believe that, and I say that with heavy heart. I mean, I've done some things with the Canal and River Trust juniors. And it's amazing how many people turn up when they advertise them, and the amount of effort and work that John does is incredible.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, they do like nearly 300 days a year coaching people, and on canals and rivers, and it's the job they do is unbelievable. Whether them people will go to rivers, I don't know. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but the effort and the work put in, and I believe, this is my belief, if they put that amount of effort into these, we get millions of kids in.
Yeah.
I think if we did it that way, and they did it in commercial place, I think we'll get a lot. I think they'll come and stay. Whereas I think it's all hard work when you go to the canals, and I say that with a heavy heart, I really do, because I would prefer them to go on the rivers and the canals, because that's my first love. But I think if they put that effort into commercialism, I think we'd get more kids involved.
You might not be far wrong. Match fishing in general, we're taking the kids out of the equation, the actual scene, open matches, the big money matches that have come in. I know that there aren't loads of them, but there are definitely...
There's certainly more.
There's definitely more. That whole transformation where now you've got full-time anglers that are there, that are fishing. With regards to that, do you think that sort of thing is sustainable? Do you think more money will get pumped into it? Do you think it will become a sort of a... I don't know, you look at darts and you think that's quite a big sport. You see that on Sky Sports.
Yeah.
It's
never going to be like that.
You don't think?
No, not a chance. Not a chance of being like that, because you can't tell. The trouble is, fishing is the hardest sport in the world, because you can't see the object ball. When you dart, you see the table, you can see the dart. Football, you see the football. Rugby, you see the rugby. Cricket ball, you see the bat, you see the ball. Golf, it's there. It's you if you make a mistake. You can't see the fish. You can't see the object ball, so you can't see the fish taking the bait, etc., and things like that. And I think that's why it's hard to televise. But social media has helped create lots of people's, and it's social media where the anglers can make the money. And if I were 20 years younger, I can assure you I would be doing things completely different to what I do today. It's my age that slows me down with lots of things like that, because the power of social media is quite staggering. And so I get, like, you know, a lot of these anglers who do it all the time, and it's a full-time job for them, and I get that. But actually getting fishing on television, I don't think they do it right. I don't think Fishermania's done right. I think it could be done a lot better by having anglers on the bank who know what they're talking about, and no disrespect to the presenters, they're unbelievable presenters, but they don't know anything about fishing.
Yeah.
And I think it needs them to be talking to the camera about the fishing. Oh, what Tom's doing now, he's casting a feeder under the far bank now and he's finding some pellets on top, blah, blah, blah. They don't understand that, and I think that's what's missing with things like that. So, unless we create it as fishing, it's not, I don't think it's going to happen. It's got to be created by us for match fishing, for catching big fish, specimen type. Well, I think that's different. I think that's completely different, and you've only got to look at the viewing figures and the people that do that. You know, when you go on TV, and I watch them.
Yeah.
I watch all the big lads catching these big carp in France and I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic, but you can actually set it all up. Match fishing, it's not the same, it's a bit different. And the biggest problem is we can't see our object ball, so you can't show the people at home the object ball, and that's the problem, I think.
What about England? The future of sort of England. Certainly when I was growing up, representing your country, fishing for Team England, this was in the time sort of post probably you. This is like late 90s. It was the pinnacle for every angler. That being able to fish in Team England or whatever it was at the time was the very top benchmark. Now, do you think that's even a consideration in young anglers' minds?
For some people, yes, and some people, no. I think if you said to somebody you could be world champion or you could win Fishermania, I think a lot of people take Fishermania.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think a doubt about that.
Yeah.
Which I find sad.
Yeah.
Because you could give me 20 Fishermanias or one world championship, and it's not even close. I'm taking the one.
You'd take the Fishermania.
No, oh yeah, I really would, yeah. And I'd take the one, and it's cost me money to win it.
Yeah.
And you know, but for me, that's what it's about. But we're not all the same.
No.
People are not the same. People, you know, would prefer to win Fishermanias than that. I wouldn't, you know. And I'll be honest with you, anybody that fishes with me in my team, they've got to want that one goal more than Fishermania. Because if they want to win Fishermania before that, I don't want them. I'm not interested. Because the mentality's wrong.
Yeah, you said
for world championships. And so, but I get it. It's because of the fame and everything like that. I get it, but not for me.
The last two questions. The future of match angling for you, where do you see it in 10, 15 years time?
Oh, that's a great question, because if you're asking me now, I would say, first of all, I hope I'm here to find out what's going to happen,
mate.
And I hope I'm still taking part, and that's the first thing. And if I would say not a lot of change, but then 15 years ago I would have probably said not a lot of change, and 15 years before that I would have probably said the same. I think commercialism and the commercials certainly will get better and stronger. I think the river fishing will be, as match fishing will be dead and gone. I do believe that, which I find really, really sad. And internationally, I think there's an argument for maybe there's too many internationals now.
Right.
I think, and not for me personally, because you know I love fishing the vets and everything. There's a bit of an argument, but I could say, you know, like there's 2 feeder matches now. Has that depleted it a little bit? I'm not quite sure. Only time will tell on that one. And to be honest with you, in my area, and I can only speak about what happens here, there's more matches ever been. There's probably more money than there's ever been. There's more match fishermen than probably there's ever been in this area. And so, long may it continue in my area. But what's going on? I honestly haven't got a clue, but I hope I'm just part of it.
For you, the same question. 10, 15 years from now, you're still in it, you definitely will be. What would you like to be doing? The same sort of thing, this freestyle feeder thing, still doing?
Oh no, oh crikey, no. In 15 years' time, I hope I'll be 83 then.
In your prime then, mate.
And in fact, you can probably add 5 years, you know, we can probably say in 5 years' time, I hope I'm just fishing.
Yeah.
I still hope, I don't think I'll be, whether I'll be fishing the vets and the masters, I hope so. But one thing I've realised about getting old is it's about your health.
Yeah.
It's about whether you can do it or not. And I've seen people younger than me can't physically do it. and that's what, like, you know, like I had my eyes done, I've had my new hip, just so I can continue my career.
Yeah.
That's why I've had them done, so I can continue my career, and so, and I'll keep doing things like that if it's going to give me another year fishing for England. So if I need something doing, but when you get older, I realised a few years ago it's about your health.
Yeah.
So I look after myself better, and if I need something doing or whatever, I do it, just so I can fish for England another extra year or whatever, because I also realise the next time I've done. So the next time I don't get picked, I won't be getting back.
Mate, what's the title of your book is Born to Win, isn't it, mate? It's clear, mate. There's no truer word said. The dedication, the ability to sort of reinvent and roll with those changes, and there's been an awful lot of them in the time.
And there has,
you've been in there.
yeah.
And still maintain relevance and still do it and compete at that level. Honestly, mate, the utmost respect and admiration. And it's genuinely been a real honour and a privilege to be out fishing.
No,
with you,
thank
mate.
you very much for asking me. I love it, I do, I really do.
You don't need to thank me 1 minute. It's honestly been a privilege, mate. Thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll be back soon with another episode. Until then, the legend that is Tommy Pickering, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.